this is a good one, since this is all the rage right now with the new Netflix documentary about the unsolved homicide of JonBenét Ramsey. I don't know if you remember, but Geraldo Rivera did a mock trial, not a real legal trial, a mock trial on his show, where the people concluded that, of course, the parents had to have been the ones to do it. But you gotta see this.
But for the first time, we have John Ramsey and Geraldo Rivera to discuss how far we've come and how far we need to go. John, thank you very much for taking this opportunity.
How about the Boulder police just do their job and allow CC Moore to help?
Life, but I know you want closure and you want the truth to come out. So thank you for being here. Geraldo, as always, what is your perspective now as we have John Ramsey here about where your head was when you did that mock trial and where you are today?
I hope John Ramsey lives to be 110.
Well, mock trials and moot
lives
courts,
to see
as
the
you
day.
know, Chris, are not that unprecedented. They're not that extraordinary. And I'll get to the conclusion they reached in a second. But let me just say to John Ramsey that I deeply apologize to you for what you and your family have suffered, how you have lost your wife to cancer, one child to that terrible car crash, and of course what happened to JonBenét, 6 years old, who would now be 34 years old, which is an incredible fact, how long this case has been front row center in the American consciousness. So when I say I am sorry, I don't apologize for my reporting. I believe that at least half the reporters and half the nation believe that the shadow of suspicion, half the Boulder Police Department, or at least those who have not retired, or those who have retired because of this case, believe it. But I don't know what happened. I just want you to know that I lament contributing to the hurt that you have endured. I don't think no one deserves to go through what you went through. That's my bottom line. And when I walk around, and it is with like yours in my head over the last 54 years of my career, it is a burden to me. It's a soulful burden. And again, man to man to you, I apologize, and I am sorry for everything you have gone through.
John,
well, thank you.
What do you have to say, and what do you want people to know about what needs to happen?
Well, we want two things to happen. You know, we've been critical of the police for 28 years for not accepting help.
And rightly so.
This case could have been solved a long time ago, in my opinion, had the police not immediately focused on Patsy and I, and only focused on Patsy and I. You know, we accepted that and told them, look, okay, we understand that. We were in the house, so we're suspect. But don't stop there. And they did. And in fact, they released, I haven't seen this documentary, so I don't know fully what's in it, but they documented, I think, the police fed false information, misleading information to the media about our potential guilt before even the evidence had been recovered and looked at. And their theory was that, okay, we think it's one of the parents, it's always the parents. We just don't know which one, so let's bring intense pressure on both of them. The innocent one will turn the guilty one in, case solved. That was the whole strategy. That was confirmed to us by the DA several years later. That was their strategy to solve the case. They knew the answer, they just didn't know which one. Intense pressure, one of the innocent could confess or turn the guilty one in, and the case would be solved. That would be easy. And of course, the media ran with it big time. It was juicy and sensational. And it was pretty bizarre in our country. This would not happen in England. People go to jail for what was done in our case. Police releasing false information, the media running with it, trying us in the court of public opinion. That's primitive behavior for society, and the media was disgraceful, quite frankly, in our case. But they were fed by a even more disgraceful police department, and they ate it up.
You had said at the time, and this is unusual. Geraldo will know this even better than I. Very rare for a local police department that does not have a lot of experience processing these kinds of cases to reject outside help, especially from the feds. Usually it's a statewide task force, but for the feds to come in and offer resources and it be turned away is almost unprecedented. Quickly, John, you believe that the DNA that they had available at the time now has new processing application, and you want that done. Explain.
Let me first say, Geraldo, I accept your apology and thank you. What we want done, there's two things we want done. We want the evidence that has been previously tested and never tested. We think there's some that has never been tested. We don't know that for sure, but it appears that's the case. We want that resampled by one of the cutting edge labs that's out there. It's not gonna, the government, I don't think, has the technology yet to do it. An Othram Labs, a Bodie Labs, those are really cutting edge labs. Bodie did the original testing back in 1997. They came up with unidentified male DNA, still unidentified. The police, that was a real problem for the police because they already decided that we were the killers. Like, how do we explain away this unidentified DNA? And they tried for a long time to find an innocent explanation. The reason we need to retest is in order to, it plays into the second thing we want done, and that is to use this familial genealogy research approach to find the killer. And that's been wildly successful in some old cold cases. Yep. To do that, they covered it. It's fascinating what's been done. But to do that research, they've got to have a different format for the DNA than what was submitted to the federal database. And I don't understand that, but that's what I'm told. So the retesting needs to be done. Hopefully we get a good sample and in the right format that then they could do the genealogy research. And I believe if we do that, there's a really good chance we can solve it. But if we don't,
well, we will be pushing for exactly that. We will stay on it. And
that's what we've been doing for 5 years, trying to get the Boulder police to do exactly that.
What you said to John.
That's what everybody's been trying to get them to do. How can a police department completely fuck up and botch the unsolved homicide of a 6-year-old girl for 28 years?
This long after, do you believe that a case like this can be solved?
The Boulder police contradict or counter John and say that there's no test that can be done that has not been done within reason.
False.
I don't know. It would seem to me,
28 years later, there's no other suspect has come forward. No one, the people that they have named, the pedophiles living in Thailand and the other miserable creatures, the people who took sexual pleasure from the pictures of these children at these events that JonBenét participated in, and a lot of I think the heavy lifting that the Ramseys had in terms of their innocence was. The intruder evidence was pretty sparse. No one else has come forward as a suspect.
But they haven't done the genealogy testing that we've seen in other cases.
All I know is that the Boulder police have said they've done it. Listen,
look,
I hope you find justice.
Here's the fact.
I hope this
department.
Right.
Within the last
Go ahead,
year,
make the last point, John.
An oversight committee in the Boulder Police recommended immediate termination of 5 other 7 detectives, one of whom was a detective that worked on our case. And he was a roadblock. He was worthless. He was in charge of our case for 25 years. He was a former auto theft investigator. to think that they have done all that could be done